creating this piece in August 2 years ago. It was during the time that Mike Brown lost his life, that Eric Gardner lost his life, and that the whole nation was, standing on its feet and demanding that conversation be had about the lives of young black and brown people across the country and the discrepancies that they are having in their lives, trying to deal with law enforcement, trying to deal with school systems, trying to deal with any level of marginalization that's happening. And so what's so great about FLEXN is that that's right in the dance. The dancers have taken their personal experiences and they put that on the stage, and you're going to see that tonight, done exquisitely with great virtuosity. And what is so great is that we've been able to have conversations with communities where we've done this piece all over the world, from Australia to Europe to New York, and now here at Jacob's Pillow. And so we have some incredible guests who are here with us this evening. We have Dennis Powell, the president of the NAACP Berkshire County Branch. We have the mayor of the city of Pittsfield, Tyer. And Wynn, the chief of police of Pittsfield. And so we've gathered, with the help of Jacob's Pillow, we've gathered them here today to really make that connection between life and art even more explicit. One of the great things I find about making art, making theater, making dance, is that it is essential for the democracy that everyone have an opportunity to tell their lives and to tell their stories, and the stage gives us a place to do that. So what I'd like to do is just start off by passing the mic. Mayor, you would like to start off, and I'm just going to ask, please tell us a little bit about yourself, the work that you're doing here, what you hope to do as mayor, and what you see the situation here in the county for the experience of young black and brown people here.
Well, first of all, I'm really honored to be here this evening for what is really a very important conversation through dance. What keeps me awake at night, and I know this is something that all of you worry about, there are sort of two things that are deeply meaningful to me. One of the things that worries me is the level of discourse that's happening on the national stage. We're here tonight, the Berkshires, on a stage that's local. But on the national stage, we are hearing a dialogue that promotes hate and violence. And it is disturbing to me that on our national stage in the United States of America, these are the kinds of conversations that we're having. It's troubling to me, and as the mayor of a small city, I'm committed to doing one thing every day that is in response to that sort of hatred. So we have in our small city many opportunities every day to do one right thing, to respond to what is clearly become a crisis in our nation. And it's through the partnerships that we develop, myself and Dennis with the NAACP, myself and the chief of police, and the community activists in our small city, that can really begin to change and shift the conversation. It happens in every town, in every opportunity in every town, to change the dialogue, to be the antidote for what has become a very disturbing national conversation. And I think what we do in Pittsfield, we have this incredible network of organizations and community activists who are committed to the youth, to young children, and to young adults, giving them as many opportunities to achieve their potential. And the saddest thing for me in what is occurring nationally in many of our larger cities is that every time there is an incidence of violence, it is lost potential. The person who is murdered, slaughtered, it's lost potential. Lost potential of those families who are suffering the deep grief of the kind of violence. Lost potential when people feel oppressed and they can't be free in their own nation. There's so much sadness to me when we experience violence in our own city and we have youth who are engaged in acts of crime, and to me, they've lost their opportunities. But there is so much positive happening in our city. There's Youth Alive. There's this great summer camp where kids have an opportunity to play sports and learn to read, and there's literacy programs. We've just launched an organization, Pittsfield Community Connection. It's just in its infancy. The intent is to give opportunity for kids and young adults to have access to wraparound services so that they can meet their potential. And so as the mayor of a small city, my commitment is to every day try to do one thing that is the antidote to the national dialogue. So I think performance here tonight and the message that we'll be seeing visually on stage is an important twist on the conversation. We're going to be seeing, I'm sure, some very powerful movement that tells the story of experiences that the young dancers are want to share with us as an audience. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Reg, why don't you tell us a little bit about creating this amazing Flex community? Because I think that's new. It's something that we don't all know, but that's one of the most powerful things I think also about this company is that you're a real community.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, I appreciate it. It really means a lot to me. And thank you guys also for coming out here and discussing with us. As far as creating the style of flexing, it's one of those things that again, I just feel like you don't know what's going to happen. You know, it's something that just that kind of happens, and you're like, wow, it's creating so much. And I say one of because I'm just one of the dancers that helped create the style. There's of course other dancers that was in my dance group that helped create the style, but I'm just one of the representatives of it. And that's the style called pausing. Now we used to dance on this show called FLEXN Brooklyn, and on this show FLEXN Brooklyn, it's like a public access channel, and on BCAT in Brooklyn. We all created stories on stage, and these type of stories that we created on stage had a lot to do with our community, where we're from, and then also it's rooted in a lot of the Jamaican dance hall roots. That pretty much is grounded with flexing. So we as a team, we kind of started creating these different dance styles, pausing, connecting, get low, bone breaking. It's all these different styles that we started creating because we wanted to be different from everyone else. We didn't want to be the same because it's like, okay, if you're the same, you're not different, honestly, right? Different changes the world. So we wanted to just try to come out and be the best we can be. So the inspiration that helped create that was like movies, pretty much. It was movies, it was cartoons, it was things that we would see on a regular basis. We would see someone in a wheelchair and get inspiration from that. We would see somebody, we would see The Matrix, we'll watch The Matrix and say, okay, wow, that's, the bullets dodging back and forth and how Agent Smith goes, we do all that fast stuff. Like, we wanted to do that, but we didn't have no $1 million budget to make it happen on stage. But we did it, so we did it with our bodies, and we tried to understand how to make that happen and what's the best way to create that illusion. So those are like the reasons in the just the concepts that help us build what flexing was, or what flexing is today.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. Also, Dennis Powell, President of Berkshire County Chapter of NAACP. And retired 6 times. Working on my 7th. But I want to talk. Tonight it's difficult because I also did this at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And because I have actually saw the show, I want to make sure I don't try and change my message to match what I'm saying, because I know I would mess it up. So I'm just going to have you think a moment about the opening comment about Black Lives Matter. Because I think that we have truly allowed the media and people of hate to change the message, okay? And I received a phone call from someone really concerned in the community and said, well, as the president of the NAACP, don't you think that all lives matter? I said, well, of course. Was that question rhetorical? All lives matter. But we also have to be very honest with ourselves, and honesty has to come first. I do a little something every morning where, just for, like most of you know, I'm only in competition with one person. That's me. It's the only competition I have in life. And every morning I wake up and I ask God to help me be a better person today than I was yesterday. What do I have to do? So, when we think about that, that's why I'm really concerned about how this whole Black Lives Matter thing is being distorted and people are turning people against each other. But when you really want to think about it, there was a time in our history when black lives did not matter. Because if they did, we would not have been owning human beings. When I was a youngster and I saw National Geographic magazine and saw pictures of beautiful African queens nude, it didn't matter. Nobody thought anything of it. You saw it on TV because they weren't considered by general public as human beings. So now when you hear the word, now everybody wants to say, but all lives matter. I saw even our Berkshire Eagle had cartoon pictures, and there was a black man holding a sign saying Black Lives Matter. There was a police officer holding a sign saying Blue Lives Matter. That creates problems. Because it's pitting one against the other when all lives matter. The difference with the blue life is when the uniform comes off, you still don't know who that individual is. This doesn't come off. So we're judged 24/7 because we're black. So I want everyone to really think about that. And don't allow yourself to be persuaded by the haters that Black Lives Matter mean anything other than everyone deserves the right for freedom and liberty and to carry out their dreams.
Dennis can't get rid of that mic fast enough. I would also like to thank everybody for being here this evening, and I am truly honored to have been invited to participate in this panel. As we were introduced, my name is Mike Wynn. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Pittsfield. I've been a police officer for about 23 years, and I have been black all my life. I didn't know that until I was in college, but that's another story. It's a tough time in America right now. It's an incredibly tough time to be in law enforcement in America right now. It is an amazingly tough time to be a black police executive in America right now. Fortunately, I've got a great agency. I'm supported by a great administration, and we have good history locally of working with some great partners, some of whom are in the room. I see Gwen from Bridge, and Lucy's back there from the NAACP, and the Grace Task Force. And we've enjoyed some great successes and some minor setbacks, but it all comes, the reason we can enjoy successes through those setbacks is it all comes down to a basic philosophy that I try to instill in my agency, and I teach to you new police officers when I'm at the academy. And that philosophy is that we police every person who enters the city of Pittsfield the same. Whether they live there, pay taxes there, visit there, are naturalized, are undocumented, We police them all the same. And we don't do it perfectly, but that's the philosophy and that's the goal. And because we have that philosophy and we have that goal, when things exploded 2 years ago across the country, and the phone rang in my office, and there was representatives from the NAACP and Regg, and they said, we want to have a March for Peace and Justice, and we need to know what the police department's going to do, because we had seen what police departments elsewhere in the country had done. My response was, well, we're going to protect and support your right to peacefully assemble, and I'm going to march with you, because that's important. And I won't sit here and say that we haven't had our issues. We have had our issues, but because we have such a great coalition in place, when those issues occur, we're able to assemble a team quickly, get into the community, pull in some trusted partners who have been there with us, who have provided training to us, and get in front of those issues to have the kind of conversation and dialogue that hopefully this performance will spark beyond the walls of this theater tonight. Thank you.
So, I had a conversation with one of the dancers earlier today, and after our talks this afternoon, and I said to him, it's important to speak about what you're dancing, to share that with people. And I said, you have to tell people what it is that's missing, that they're not getting. And I think he said to me, I want them to get that this is real. These dancers are putting their lives out here on the stage and sharing that with you. And one of the things that I see hopeful is that as you said, they're igniting a conversation. And so as we move forward into the future, I'm really interested to know from each of you, what is your ideal future? What do you see as in the future for us moving forward as a united people? Like, how do we move forward? How do we get out of this situation that we're in? What do you see the future looking like?
Well, I'll go first this time. Actually, I'm going to sort of repeat what I said this afternoon because I think it's a really important message. Our young people are crying out to be heard. We have many forums where we listen to them, and we do not act. We've got to listen to what they're saying, trust in what they're saying, and move in a direction to make things better. But first of all, we've got to just get rid of something that we were not born with. It was clearly a taught behavior. We got to lose our hate. We hate without even knowing why. You ask someone, well, why do you hate her? I don't know. Just always have. We've got to get rid of that. And we've got to continue this. It's a terrible subject to talk about, but we need to talk about it in order to make changes. We've got to be willing to have the conversation. It's difficult for me, it's difficult for you. We meet, and it's very difficult in meetings for us to talk about issues in the community. Because I'm committed. My main commitment is to cancel out this school-to-prison pipeline. That is throughout the nation, but is definitely prevalent here in Berkshire County, in the state of Massachusetts. I seen a frightening picture of a young boy being fingerprinted, and they had him standing on a milk carton. That's how short he was and small he was and young he was. We gotta stop this. It's real. We have to have the conversation. We have to come together as a community. And it's all about mindset. We gotta change our mindset and open our minds up to receive, to understand, and to act.
sometimes it can feel like an impossible thing to overcome. How can we possibly overcome this? And I feel like, as I mentioned in my earlier comments, that what I can do in my city is where I can make the most difference. And I'm committed to strengthening all of the partnerships that will continue to build upon what's necessary to overcome these challenges in our city, to avoid any of the to avoid any kind. I lose sleep sometimes worrying about people losing their lives in our city. And so I'm committed to strengthening this network that is really quite robust, and we are extremely lucky in our city to have these partnerships. I'm also really committed to, in the work that I do as the mayor, of expanding diversity so that across all areas of government, in employment, representation on boards and commissions, encouraging people to run for office, expanding diversity both in gender, in race, thought, opinion, experience, by bringing everyone to the table of community life and to the work that we do in government is a way to continue to build bridges of understanding, and that is the most important thing that we can do just in our city. Again, to be the antidote for all of the things that are happening in the nation, and protect ourselves and strengthen our bond so that we can give everyone their best potential. Thank you.
It is an important question. What does the future look like? And I didn't have an answer when I was asked. And I don't know how the lighting is out there in the theater. It's bright up here. But if you can't see out there, take a look around, look behind you. I hope the future looks a little bit like this. People of all different ages and all different colors, all different backgrounds, coming together for an important purpose to have an important dialogue. Seriously, take a look at this crowd. I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of a law enforcement secret. Cops don't like when chiefs say these things, but I'm gonna tell you. The police can't do what we do for public safety alone. And so our future looks like your future. It looks like having people like you help us police our community. We're going through a little bit of a rough patch in Pittsfield right now because we've got a good police department and we've got committed community partners. What we have is a lack of communication from the people who are doing the crime and being victimized by the crime. We essentially gave up an entire generation because we told them we could do everything for them. And so now when they're victimized, they don't call. And now we have to develop new strategies and new technologies and new information pipelines to develop that information because the response is, well, they shot at me, next weekend I'll shoot at them. And it's been going on in the city of Pittsfield for over a year. We've made some cases and we've gotten some people, but we're not getting the cooperation that we traditionally enjoy because we've got a generation of young people who have given up on us because they thought we gave up on them, and we have to fix that. And we're going to need people like you to help us fix that.
So FLEXN is really, I put it in a nutshell, a dance of resilience. And so, against all odds. So Reg, can you tell us a little bit more about the different styles in flexing and maybe what we're going to see this evening?
Sure, definitely. So what you're going to be able to see tonight is, we're going to go through a series of styles, pretty much, of what flexing is. We're going to see it's connecting. When you think about connecting, you think about making connections, being able to go through the world of connecting people with people, connecting, like how we're connecting right now, through conversation and dialogue. You'll see bone breaking. That's one of the most popular styles of flexing. Everybody looks at that and says, oh yeah, it's flexing, but it's a part of a style of what flexing is. And bone breaking, you can kind of look at it as if you're breaking every piece of bone in your body and reconstructing yourself to be a better person, to be different than what you was before, and then breaking your body again and then rebuilding yourself once again. pausing. That's one of the styles. That's what the style I created. It's more of us want to say it's like a movie animation. You know, or pressing pause and play on life. You know, some people feel like they can do that. You know, and you really have to say that the only person can do that is God. You know, and you want to say what other styles we have? Get low. For instance, get the whole get low situation, staying low below the radar, and gliding on your knees across this whole stage, and being smooth with it. That's another style. Am I missing any styles? Gliding. Okay, gliding. See, thank you, Charlotte. Gliding, being able to just glide through life smoothly. When there's a situation, understand that when you can go through it smoothly, there might not be a recurrence of a repercussion. You know, so we need to just understand those things and just move through life smooth. So that's kind of what gliding is. But besides that, I feel like it's gonna get really crazy in here, and you might turn your heads a little bit when you see some of the stuff that you see. But I'm gonna urge you not to leave. All right, don't blink too much, because if you blink, you might miss something. And just honestly, when you're dancing, when you're seeing, don't run. All right, but if you do want to run, we have exits right here, right there, right there, and right there. All right, so just make sure you keep that in mind. And I don't know, I'm ready to dance and show these people what's really good.
Yes, great. So, I want to thank our panelists, and also, just to let you know, so usually Jacob's Pillow plays an announcement now that asks you to turn off your telephones. We want to ask you to turn your telephones on, turn your cameras on. If you see something you like, photograph it, video record it, hashtag flexing, hashtag Jacob's Pillow. And in New York, we have this thing in the subways, if you see something, say something. So tonight, please, if you see something you like, shout out, applaud, let the dancers know that you see it and you feel it and you're with them, okay? And have a great evening. Thank you.